evening, everyone. Welcome. We do still have some chairs along here and up front and a couple smatterings. So welcome. Tony, is it okay if I walk amongst the... So my name is Katie Mortimer. Welcome. I'm the Executive Director of Field Education, Admissions, and Contracts with the Department of Social Work, and I welcome you. I'm going to introduce you to some other folks who are here, but before I do that, I need to do some housekeeping for you. I have lots of things I'm supposed to remind you of, one of which is that we're filming this tonight. Primarily, I believe the camera will be on my face, but just to make you all aware, because then we put it up on our website so that other students who weren't able to make it are able to get the information as well. So if you want to be a star, here's your big moment. Also want to remind you that restrooms are out and to the right. You will get all of the slides that we share tonight in the next couple of days, so please don't worry if you don't take perfect notes. I like to write down everything I hear because it gets it in my old mind, but don't feel like you have to because we're going to send you all that information. And there's one more thing. Maybe that's it. So welcome. So I am, not only do I get to be over programs here with the department, I also am your chair of admissions. So I welcome you to our very first info session for this particular admission cycle. I'd like to introduce you to all the colleagues that have come out today to welcome you and to inform you about our process. So this is Jessica Rubalcava. She is our admissions coordinator and student engagement coordinator for our stateside programs. Many of you will likely hear lots from her. This is Director Jolene Swain. She's our Director of Field Admissions for our stateside programs. Our chair of our entire department, Dr. Eli Bartle. In the back, Jennifer Torres. She is the office manager of the social work department. Behind her is the fabulous Mark Abelson, one of our lecturers and just fabulous in his own right. Also, I have two wonderful folks from Sang College who are going to be supporting our online and off-site programs, Amy Lasser and Yvonne Carrillo. Woo-hoo! We also have a student, a current student, right?
So my name is Alberto. I'm a two-year on-campus student.
And he'll be talking to you about his experience because he's fantastic and wants to tell you what he knows. So welcome. So I'm going to do a couple slides for you and get us started and give you a sense. Our whole hope for tonight is to give you a sense of what our program is like. We understand that you have lots of options in terms of an MSW program. There are 8 MSW programs just in this basic Southern California region. And we understand that there are a lot of different advantages to each. We are a very distinct kind of program. We're going to tell you about that because just as much as you are shopping, or we may be shopping for you, we also know that you're shopping us. And so we want to give you what we're about so that you know who you're applying to, if that makes sense. Sound good? Yeah. There will be lots of times for questions, so please, oh, that's my other thing I'm supposed to say. If you could, please hold your questions until the end. I'm going to do some general questions once our presentation is over, and then many of us will stick around to answer your individual questions. Don't worry, we will not have you leave without having either a point of contact or an answer for you for your questions. Okay? So if you would, just write them down and hold on to them and don't forget them. All right. So there we have it. So here's our abbreviated admissions committee. Let me tell you that the fact that we have all of these folks here tonight on a Wednesday evening to inform you says a lot about how our department looks at admissions. We're all really dedicated to making sure that our admissions process is thorough. It's not just about what you look like on paper. We're really looking for well-rounded candidates. We get about 500 applications a year, and we accept somewhere around 200 of those applicants. And that's stateside and our online programs. I understand those numbers can sound daunting. Please don't let that dissuade you. It's really important that we have an opportunity to get to know all of you, not just what you look like on paper. I'll tell you more about that later. But part of the reason we leave all of these names out for you is because I want you to see that our chair of our department is a part of our admissions committee. Our director of our online and offsite program is a part of our admissions committee because we really have a lot of dedication to making a thorough and thoughtful process. So we are a specific kind of social work program. Something you should know that I wish someone would have pulled me aside when I was shopping for MSW programs is that we have a generalist program. Much of what you get in an MSW program is the same whether you go to UCLA, whether you go to Tulane, whether you go to Smith, or whether you go to Cal State Northridge. We have an accrediting body that Dr. Bartle's going to talk about shortly after that really defines much of the MSW curriculum. There are points of specialization that MSW departments get, or MSW schools get, but everyone is looking to give you the gamut of the broad role of social work. So when you're looking at programs, our program is different than other programs because we have one specialization. We don't have tracks, we don't have mental health or forensic or children and families. We only have what we call advanced generalist practice, and our specialization is on urban communities. We're very excited about that. There's a lot of talk in our department about power and privilege and about anti-oppressive practice, trauma-informed practice for urban communities. That's our claim to fame. So to come to us, you really need to be clear that we are looking to give you an experience that will have you prepared to be any number of roles a social worker can be. There are folks who will come in and say, I was really looking at MFT program and social work program because I know I want to be a clinician. Welcome. You're not going to find a clinical track here. You are going to find clinical people, but you're not going to find a specialization. You're going to be sitting next to folks who are in hospice, just the same as school social work, just the same as grant writing. Everybody is in the same classroom together. Make sense? Beautiful. They're going to yank me off this stage in about 2 minutes, but let me tell you one more. Oh, they're already going to yank me off the stage. So before they do that, I'm really excited you're here. It's a really exciting time to be looking at social work. The things that are happening in our world are both, wow, a little frightening and scary and alarming, and yet there's a wonderful role for change agents. So I am really thrilled to see that this is a packed room. That means that the call for social work is out, and we're excited to have you, and we're excited to welcome you into our program. So thank you for being here, Dr. Bartle.
Goodness, oh my goodness, it is a packed house. 5 minutes ago it wasn't. I think it was kind of farm community, the early bird gets the worm. You're the early bird, so welcome everyone. How are you?
Good.
Okay, and how many of you have come to the CSUN campus for the first time tonight? Ah, nice. How is parking? Welcome to the CSUN campus. So one of the things we've done is just recently rewritten our mission statement. And I want to read it to you because we all helped in writing it. Thank you, Jessica. Oh, she already did it. It's kind of wordy, but it's worth looking at, and I encourage you to look at every school's mission statement. And ours is new. So the mission of our department is to prepare professional social workers to be anti-oppressive, socially just agents of change, who promote well-being, as Ms. Mortimer said, in urban settings, because we serve this part of the valley as well as north of here, east, south, and west. An advanced generalist program with a focus on urban communities. So we have both micro, meso, and macro focus, but we try to stick with the urban area. The department will teach and create collaborative learning experiences with students. The focus, then, to try to take this down more is, again, that urban settings, we describe communities which are densely populated areas and a vast array of subcultures. Those subcultures, as many of you know, are internationally based. So we do want to put more international focus, and as you hear today, you'll see we've done that. Utilizing a lens that espouses an intersectional, trauma-informed, collaborative perspective, the department celebrates a strengths-based, inclusive identity emphasized by the shared experiences of community, culture, and location. You might take some of these words, and since you can today, Google them. Because these words aren't just words, really, they're not just buzzwords. Anti-oppressive social work is, at some level, teaching the strengths perspective, but also teaching how the strengths perspective isn't enough to address issues of oppression. And I see some nods. So then we try to operationalize it with goals. And you can read those. I'll pick number 3 tonight as you read the others. Advance for equitable and socially just society. And we're working as we speak on that, implementing that in the classroom. And if you come here, you will be part of that. And I'll tell you why. Because we are accredited. I think all American social work programs are accredited. I don't think we have unaccredited ones. If we do, let me know. But if we do, you don't probably want to go to one. So what is our accreditation body? It's called the Council on Social Work Education. Why is it important? Because you don't want to go to a non-accredited program because you won't be hired at certain jobs. There's 9 core competencies. Are they up here next? No, I didn't think so. There's 9 core competencies, and you can look at them on the CSWE website. They've tried to get them down to something that makes sense to you. They are, I want to, I think, end with this. As you look at programs, think about what you want. Not only concentrations, like Ms. Moonon was saying, your first year is the same for the accrediting body across any university. But how is it going to be different? Well, how was your last year of college different? If you took the same classes, it was different because you had different professors. So I encourage you to look at the professors, the staff, the people that are here. Read the website. And then email us and see if this is what you really want. I used to say, always come to our program. And I still can say. But I also say to you, I mentored a friend of mine through, and she looked really hard at 2 programs and didn't choose this one because she wanted something different. Now she's in practice and she realizes, maybe I could have chosen this one, but she wanted to be in a certain area. So that's why I asked you, have you been to this campus? How is it to come here? And then I will say, I welcome you tonight and stay around afterwards and ask questions. But do feel free to look at CSWE, look at our competencies, and know that we're in the process of change. So it's an exciting time for us, and thank you all for coming, and I'm going to turn it over to the next person. Okay, Jessica.
Alrighty, everyone. I'm going to move this. So again, my name is Jessica Rubalcava. I am the Admissions and Student Engagement Coordinator. As you are applying to our program, it's going to be me. We're going to be talking. We're going to get real close and become friends because I'm going to help you through this thing. I'm going to talk about a little bit about our programs, and then we get to go into the really fun stuff of what the application process looks like and all those details. So a little bit about our programs. We have 4 different programs. We have the on-campus 2-year program and the on-campus 3-year program. I am your point person for those programs. We also have an UNON program and an online program. The person who does that is Gretchen Serrano. She is not here tonight, but like Katie said earlier, Yvonne and Amy will also be able to help with the online program as well. And like Katie mentioned earlier, we do admit approximately 200 students, and that's for all 4 of these cohorts. For the on-campus cohorts, we only admit about 120. So we get about 500 applications for 120 spots. So it is a competitive process, but to me, that just makes me want it more if I were you. I want to be the best that I can be, just show how brightly I can shine. So keep that in mind as you are applying as well. Okay, so for our on-campus 2-year program, something to note, all of these cohorts that I just rattled off to you, we're going to dive deeper into all of them, but they all take the same classes. It's the same classes, it's the same units, so it's the same curriculum for all of them. The order in which you take the classes will vary depending on the cohort that you're in, and the price will vary as well. So for our 2-year on-campus program, we admit about 78 students into this cohort, but the class sizes are about 20 a class. So while there may be a large cohort, we do keep your class sizes small so we can have those discussions and just get it more of an intimate learning process. We do keep you busy, as you can see if you're looking at this right now. Your class schedule for your first year, we get you 2 full days, 2 business days. We get you Tuesdays and Fridays, about 8 to 5, rounding up or down as you can see. And then your second year, we get you Tuesdays and Thursdays. So you'll always be here on 2 days on campus. You also have field requirement, which Jolene will talk about in a little while, and so we'll dive deeper into that. But do keep in mind your field requirement, that would just need to be completed during business hours, which is Monday to Friday, 8 to 5 or 9 to 6. Your first year you do 16 hours, your second year you do 24. But again, we'll go into detail a little bit more about that. And so I want you to take a look right here. So this tuition, this is the total tuition for 2 years. So for your total 2 years, it's going to be approximately $16,644. So that's, I wanted to point that out really quick right there. If you're a non-California resident or an international student, it's going to vary a little bit for you. I just wanted to point out that number. Okay, so for our 3-year program, it is an on-campus 3-year program. Like I said, it's the same classes, same numbers, same units, except this cohort will have some summer semesters as well. We'll have you in the evenings. We call it our part-term program because of the number of classes that you take. So we'll be here Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6 to 9:45 or 6 to 8:45. And again, even though this is an evening program, you still need to complete your field hours during business hours. And then take a look right here. This is the total tuition. Again, approximately, asterisk down at the bottom, always with these numbers. But the total tuition for all 3 years is about $27,754. So now I'm going to bring up Jolene, and she's going to talk a little bit about the Moonon Cohort.
Jessica. And again, I'm Jolene. I'm the Director of Field here for our stateside programs and for the Moonon Cohort. I am also the academic lead on this program. This is a new program that we just started. We actually just launched it this semester, so this is week 2 of it. We're doing it in collaboration with UNOM, which is University of Mexico. They have an LA site and they have a Mexico site, which is in Mexico City. And we worked with the LA site, the LA offsite program here to develop this collaboration. And it's the same MSW program. It's 2 years, except for you take half of the program in Spanish. It will be taught in Spanish. So all your curriculum, lecture, and books are in Spanish. And then 1/4 of your field placement experience will be actually in Mexico City. And that will be your last semester of your second year. So you must have the capacity to be able to do your field placement in the spring, and not in the spring, in the summer. And we call that a summer block because you'll do your placement 25 hours a week. And so you'll have to carve out that time and make some kind of arrangements with work, or be able to take, or some students don't work, but be able to financially support yourself during the summer and then the trip down to Mexico. And so we have the tuition cost, which is here again, it's approximate. So it'll probably change, it could have the capacity to change. And also, we'll talk about the expenses that it will cost to go down to Mexico City to stay for 8 weeks. So anyway, it's an exciting program. The students are really excited about them. They are assigned academic mentors. Hopefully we will continue to have a special Spanish class. It looks like our students will come out more biliterate than what they thought they would be in this program, because they are learning how to read, write, and not learn. They already are bilingual, but they are enhancing their skills in terms of reading and writing and speaking in Spanish. So that's UNOM. So again, if you're interested, there will probably be in the application packet a little check mark. Check it off. You can have more of a conversation with me about some of the details, either later or through email. I'm happy to tell you as much as we know. This is one of these programs, and this is what happens in social work, is that you build a plane and you fly it at the same time. So we're putt-putting along. We're up in the air right now, and so we just need some other folks to come and join us.
All right, so now we're going to talk a little bit about our online program. So again, Gretchen Serrano is your contact if you are interested in our online 2-year program. She's not here today. Her contact is up there, but don't worry if you're going to try and jot this down. It'll be up at the end of the slide as well, or the end of the presentation as well. I'd like to invite Yvonne to come up here with me so we can talk a little bit about the online 2-year program. Go ahead, Yvonne.
Hello, my name again is Yvonne Carrillo. I support the online and off-site programs through St. College. And some of the things that I really wanted to point out or emphasize is that the price is drastically different. We are very transparent about that. One of the things that I talk to even my family members is that when they ask me, okay, what's the difference between online and offsite? Why is it so different? Why is the price so great? One of the things that I like to point out is that it's just a different option for you. And really it's about what is the best fit for you. You have the same faculty teaching. You have the faculty preparing these classes for you 6 months in advance, recording them, coming into a live session, so your sessions are meeting asynchronous, which means that you're having to log in, I believe it's once a week, at a certain time, at a certain date, and you help build this community with each other. So it's not like if you're on your own, you're still having this cohesiveness in a cohort and building off each other. And again, you have this great support system with the department. So you have you have Gretchen Serrano here to help you through your application process. You also have our team here. But you also have through St. College, which is your $45,000, where's it going to? So it's going to support our financial aid staff that's here just to help online and offsite cohorts. So if you have questions, you don't go to the regular on-campus office, you go to us for pretty much for everything. We joke around about, okay, all you have to do is show up to class and pay for your classes, and we help you through the entire program, which really that is the case. You're never really alone. So that's where it's going to. We also have our own admissions. We have our finance people. So if you ever have a hole in your account, you're not just going to be out there saying, sorry, you can't enroll. We are there to guide you through the entire process from application to graduation. So that's what you get. That's the price difference, really. And those sessions that are going to be made available to you, you can find them for this entire 2 years because they're already recorded. So if you're a different type of learner, you can view them as many times as you need to. And I'll be available for questions at the end. Thank you. Good luck.
So real quick, so it is, like Yvonne mentioned, it is the same classes and units. It's just spread out differently. You still have to do field requirement even though you are online. It still needs to be business hours as well. And she did mention the tuition cost. So that's another one of our cohort options. So now we're going to talk a little bit about field education.
So field education is the heart of social work practice. I didn't coin that phrase, but had the pleasure of being able to work with the person who did coin the phrase. And it just kind of picked up around the LA area. This is my 25th year of doing field education, so I love it because, again, like I said, it's the heartbeat of social work. And this is where you will learn how to be a professional social worker. Because what we do in field is we socialize you into the profession while you are taking your academic courses. This is what makes a social work program so rigorous, is because we are the only graduate program. I have not figured out any other graduate program that does their internship and their academic work at the same time. Law, medicine, business, nobody does it at the same time. We do it at the same time because it's an applied program, which means you have to be there and be in it. And it's an integrated process. So as you learn, you do. And that is what field education is. It is where we integrate theory with practice. It is over half of your MSW units. So it is a course, although you do it in a lab kind of setting out in our urban communities at various agencies. So we work with over probably now 400 agencies out in the southern region of LA and other counties. Counties, you know, San Diego, Orange, Santa Barbara, on Ventura. So anyway, so in 2008, CSWE, Dr. Bardo talked about that, our accredited body, highlighted field education to be the signature pedagogy of all MSW programs. And what does pedagogy mean? It means best practice of. So in field, in MSW programs, field education is driving the bus and saying, this is what best practice is because we're out there in the trenches, working with clients, individuals, groups, and communities who are saying, this is what we need. We bring it back into the university, the academic setting, and say, hey, this is what clients are saying, this is what communities are saying they need, and then academic people start doing research on it. And so that's how it works. And so what we do in this program, in order to prepare you for a field, and you start in your first year, unless you're in the 3-year cohort, then you do feel that you're a second year in the program. But you will do an online application through our intern placement tracking system, which we call IPT. You will actually learn IPT or be introduced to that through your admissions process because we kind of use it during that process as well. So it won't be anything new when it comes time to do your field placement application. Then you'll have an in-person interview with one of our field faculty members, one of our field coordinators. And the reason why we do that is because you look okay on paper, but because social work is grounded in relationship, we got to see who you are. So we got to start engaging and interacting. And it's like, okay, so tell me a little bit about yourself, you know. And it doesn't matter who you are. We're not looking at like, you know, everybody's good and special and unique. That's what's so good about social work. You know, we don't exclude anybody because everybody comes here with their special gift. We just need to know what that is so we can find the best placement for you and how that fits. And then after we do that, then we send you out. Then we say, you know, this person has X, Y, and Z, so therefore they will be best placed at this agency with this field instructor. And your field instructor, again, this is a mandate of CSWE, you have to be supervised by an MSW who is 2 years post the degree, who is certified to be a field instructor. And that's the person who will teach you, begin to socialize you into the profession at your agency. They will assign you cases. They will allow you to shadow them. They will talk about interventions. And we have all these tools that we use in order to measure your growth as a social worker. So you think, oh, I can just go and do anything. No, 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 no. There's work to be done. And we have all these measuring instruments on how to do it. So anyway, so that's what will happen. We'll send you out, and we call it a pre-placement visit. You will go out, you will meet your potential field instructor. And again, here we go with relationships. Like you're going to build, engage, they're going to assess you, you're going to assess them, and then they're going to come back and they'll say to us, that's a good fit, we want that person with us. And if it doesn't mean that you don't need to be a social worker. It just means that we were a little off in our calculation of this being the appropriate fit right now. So we come back and we rework the math problem again. And so we might have to send you out again. But usually, we're so good at this, we don't make any misses at all. It's rare when you make misses. So you don't have to be worried. You don't have to worry about that. And so we work with all these different kind of agencies. Any kind of agencies you can think of. There's nowhere where social workers can't be. Particularly now that we practice on a micro, individual, meso, kind of in the middle, and macro, big picture levels that then we can place students everywhere. And there are social workers everywhere. And this is not even a fourth of the agencies that we work with. Okay? We even have social workers in political offices, and now we are really pushing for that because we need to be at the table to help write policy, write legislation in order because legislation and policy impacts the clients that we see. And so there's a cool connection. Right, Mark back there, macro social work. So, this is an exciting year right now because we're coming up on election times. We don't go one political party or not. We're just looking at people, voices being heard, and policies that are going to support the agencies where clients come to be served, and that's what social work is all about. The first year of your practicum experience is the schedule. Got to think about that, be proactive in your thinking. about this, because this is where people always kind of fall off the cliff, because they think field education, because see, you probably had an internship in undergrad, and you could kind of make up your hours and go whenever, and, you know, it wasn't that, and it might have been 1 day a week. It might have been 4 hours a week or 2 hours a week or whatever. This is very different. Remember, this is a class, it's a course. So, 16 hours a week, that's 2 days out of your week where you will be in field. That's almost like a part-time job, okay? And you will be seeing clients. You will be working as you learn. And usually we like to have it, we need it to be during the business hours, because that's when social workers work. We have gotten to the place where we don't have to work, we don't do midnight raids anymore. In the 60s, they used to do midnight raids. And you know, that was through the social welfare departments, where they want to make sure folks didn't have toasters, and so we don't do that anymore. But, so they won't have that shift. So you gotta do 8 hours during the day. And that's when social workers are there, you need to be there when your field instructor is there. You need to be there when the agency is up and alive and running, because how then do we integrate into that entire agency? Because really for us, everybody in that agency is a client in some way. Now we don't get to diagnose them, but they are a client. We pick for you in your first year because we understand human nature and human development. When we get used to something, we're creatures of habit. So when we get used to something, what do we want to do? Pardon me? Keep doing the same thing. So if you came in your first year and you've worked with children the whole time, and then when we say, here, you pick your agency, you don't pick children, right? Well, that's not going to give you a new learned experience. And as social workers, we learn from 0 to death. You need to know each developmental stage of working with people. So if you only work with children, your view is very narrow. So we're going to say, no more children right now for an academic year. We're going to say you either need adults or seniors, because children grow up to be adults or older adults. So we know that. So we need to know the lifespan. So that's what. So we want you to have a new learning environment. This is hard, but you got to push yourself and challenge yourself. Benefits, you learn something new about the field. People come in and they think, oh, this is it, exactly what I want to do, and then they get in their field placement and it's like, wow, I never thought about this experience or being this kind of social worker. And there's so many different kind of social workers. It's just, I can't even name them all, and wouldn't even try, not now, because it's still growing in terms of what we can do. So yeah, that was your first year. Your second year, we have gone to 20 hours a week. Gotta change that. In your second year, so not 24, but 20. That's still a lot of hours. Now that is a part-time job. Part-time job is 20 hours a week. You will be in field, and you also will be taking classes, coursework. And then during the business hours again, 8 through 5, Monday through Friday, and you'll be working. You'll be working with clients. Our strategy here now is that we give you a little bit more reign, and we say, here you can choose 3 agencies that you want to interview with, and you go out and you interview. And then there's a whole matching process, because as you interview the agency, they're interviewing you. And then they send us their best match, and you send us your best match, and hopefully it's all a match. And it usually just works really well. So your first choice would be their first choice, and so then that's where you would go, okay? In an area where you want, say you wanted a hospital, you wanted medical, and that's where you would interview. So we give you a list of agencies that we have approved. We make sure that the field instructor is there and certified and ready for you, and that the agency meets CSWE standards in terms of what a field practicum agency has to give you in terms of your learning goals and objectives. We want you to come out of this program being well-rounded, which means you'll be like an accordion. You can practice on the micro, meso, and macro. So that's where we are on the continuum, and we want you to be marketable. And that means get a job. Here's some practical aspects of the placement. You are required to travel. We cannot require that you have a car. So you have to figure that out if you don't. We try to do our best to place you in an area that is probably about 45 minutes to an hour away from where you live. Now, realistically in LA, that cannot happen. It just doesn't. Even the streets, even if it's really close to your house, the traffic in LA is just, it's its own monster. So we do our best, but you'll have to say, I'd say give yourself an hour and 30 minutes to travel to and fro from placement. Most of the agencies nowadays require background checks and other requirements. So if there's anything, you don't need to tell us today until you think you're gonna really wanna come to the program or be admitted into the program. If there's anything in your background that we should know, then you need to tell us. Because honesty will help us get through any roadblocks. We don't care what it is because we really believe in recovery and that people do things in another part of their life that they didn't even think about. They would be sitting in this room today and thinking about social work. And it's really none of our business to make judgment on that, but we just need to know because it will show up. And then the agency will say, oh, whoa, we didn't know this, what's going on, and that'll be a problem. So we don't want to do that. We want to head it off at the pass before. Some agencies will do drug tests, criminal record, and health screenings. It's all a requirement these days. That didn't happen so much for us, but now it is. And we don't control that. It's not us asking for it. We don't get the results at all. The agencies have their own entities that they work with, and some do the DOJ and the FBI. We don't even know. The results go straight to them. We don't get to see them. So we are bounded by FERPA not to get into that part of your life. But it would help if we know this prior, particularly around the background checks, if there's anything that would come up. Yes. So I can do the stipends too. See, here I go accordion. See? That's how you gotta be. Ready. So we have some stipends, and stipends are, it's like a gift in a way. And it's financial gifts that we have, not that we have, but schools of social work have in order to offer to people. To some people, it's not for everyone. And I really want to caution you, don't ever go for the money. Follow your passion, not the money. The money will come. So don't take any of these stipends just because you're like, I need the money. It's like, take that loan before you do this, and then the money will come so you can pay the loan back. But here are the stipend programs. Child welfare. CalSWEC is the California Social Work Education Consortium. It consists of the 23 schools in the state of California. They draw down federal funds from the Title E entitlements in the Social Security Act that says schools of social work can draw down this money, give students a stipend to train them to work in public child welfare. So you can get a stipend for $18,500 both years, so that's $37,000. That's a good little chunk of money. But then you got to go work for the Department of Children and Family Services 2 years post. Now you'll be earning a salary, but if child welfare is not your interest, this is not the stipend for you. DCFS, LA County DCFS also has a similar stipend. It's also 2 years. CalSWEC, you can go anywhere in the state. You can get the money down here and you say, oh, I want to move to San Francisco. You can go up to San Francisco and you can work for Alameda County, Contra Costa County, all those counties up there. You can work at any of the 58 counties in the state of California. LA County DCFS stipend, you cannot. You can only work for LA County DCFS for 2 years after. So you have to think long and hard about that because you sign a contract that will hold you to this. And contracts are binding. So you want to think about that. Gerontology. If you are interested in being gerontology, in being in a social work that works in gerontology, think about our GSWET. That's the Gerontology Social Work Education Consortium. And it consists of about 6 to 8 agencies in the Southern California area that specialize in gerontology, and they really are preparing social workers. We have a shortage of social workers in gerontology because people are living longer because of medical technology. So we didn't expect this, and then we're like, oh, what do we do with all these older adults now that are living longer, healthier? So that's why we need a lot of social workers in gerontology. So, and so it's a $6,000 stipend. The hope is, there's no work back to this, but the hope is you'll be so interested in gerontology when you graduate that you'll go work for one of the agencies where you did your internship. And all of these are connected to the internship. Your internship is connected to the stipend. So all child welfare, gerontology. Department of Mental Health has a stipend 1 year to LA County DMH. And that's $18,500. And the work back is to LA County DMH, either in their directly operated clinics or an agency that has a DMH contracts. And some school sites, the wellness centers at schools, do get the DMH contract. This is the child welfare ones you can do now if you apply. The other two you can't apply until going into your second year. Information will come out about the stipends if you're admitted into the program. You have to be admitted into the program first. So, you want to think about that, but again, I caution, follow your passion, not the money. And I think that's it. That's it for me right now. Thank you.
Quick things I want to mention about field. The application process will start after you are admitted to the program, so that's nothing you need to worry about right now. Right now we're just going to focus on the application portion of it. So I'm back. Told you we'd be spending lots of time together. I wasn't lying. We're going to spend a lot of time together right now. But also, if you are admitted to the program, we really are going to become really close friends because I will be helping you, permission numbers for your classes, if you have any questions. Usually I see some of our students, they come into, I'm a little clumsy, sorry. They come into my office and I support you all from getting admitted, during, and then I also help plan your graduation as well. So, lots of time spent together. But let's talk about the really fun stuff of the application process and how to get you here so you can go to your field and think about those stipends and be a social worker. So for the application process, it's a two-part process. You're going to apply to the university and you're going to apply to the department. So for the university, they have their own set of requirements that are more narrowed, and then we have our whole department application, which is lots of different aspects to it. So for the university requirement, you have to have a bachelor's degree from an accredited university or college before fall 2019, which is the semester that you all will be applying for. If you apply right now, you'll start classes in August 2019. You need to have at least a 2.5 GPA from your overall undergraduate career or your last 60-90 units. So your cumulative GPA is the one that you get with your bachelor's degree. Your last 60-90 is, let's say you got your bachelor's degree and then you went back and you took some classes at community college to raise the GPA. Your cumulative will always stay the same, and your last 60-90 is the one that you can change. So let's say you got a 2.49872 or something. It's like so close to a 2.5. What you'll need to do is take some additional classes at a community college so you can get your last 60-90 units GPA higher to at least that 2.5. Because you need to have at least a 2.5 in one of those GPAs to be eligible to apply to the program. And you need to be in good standing at the last institution that you attended. So I know we asked earlier if it's your first time here. A lot of you raised your hands. So right here, the WPE, don't freak out, okay? If you did not graduate from a CSU, then you'll have to take this exam, but only if you're admitted. So I don't want anyone to go out and sign up and take this WPE right now. I want you to wait. Let's get you admitted, and then I'll tell you that you need to take this exam. But just kind of keep it in your back pocket, keep it in the back of your mind. As you're applying, you may need to take this exam. But I have really good news for you all, so we do not require the GRE. So if you're applying to other programs that need to take the GRE, absolutely take it for them, but for us, we do not require that test. All right, so like I mentioned before, it's a two-part application process. You're going to apply to the university and you're going to apply to the department. Both of these applications open on October 1st. Oh, not 2019. October 1st, 2018. So, next month, not a year from now. So it opens up next month, October 1st, and then SING, if you're interested in only online, that will also open up on October 1st, but we'll talk about that in a second. So, Cal State Apply. This is going to be the website that you apply to for the university. If you've applied to CSUN for your undergrad, or if you went to another CSU for your undergrad, it's the same site. And even if you did graduate from CSUN or you're about to graduate from CSUN, you still need to apply to the university because now you're applying as a graduate student before you're applying as an undergraduate student. So what you'll need for this application is you need to send your official transcripts over to the Admissions and Records Office at CSUN. You can do that electronically, you can have your school mail it over to them, you can have them give it to you in a sealed envelope, and then you can drop it off, whatever you feel comfortable with. Just make sure those official transcripts are sent over to them. If you graduated from CSUN, you do not need to do this because it's the same Admissions and Records Office, so you'd be requesting the transcripts and then handing it right back to them. So if you're a CSUN alum, don't worry about the official transcripts part. Okay, I'm going to talk about the CSUN email address, and I'm going to mention it here, and I'm going to mention it a little later, and probably a little later after that. So this is an important piece. If you are new to CSUN, once you apply to Cal State Apply, you're going to get a CSUN email address and an ID number. Activate that CSUN email address ASAP, because this is the only way we're going to communicate with you during the application process. If you graduated from CSUN, it's the same CSUN email and ID number. I got my bachelor's degree here, I got my master's degree here, I worked on campus for 7-8 years. It's followed me forever. So if you forgot your CSUN email address or your password or anything, call IT, they can help you reset all that stuff. But if you're new, make sure you activate that. And then the department application has a bunch of these different components, which we're going to go over right now. Oh wait, no, we're not. We're going to do this one more time. Again, 2 parts. First, the department application, and so this link, it's all online. We don't do any paper applications. The link can be found in the admissions tab of our website. It's not up yet. It'll be posted on October 1st. But check out that admissions tab, and I'm going to talk about this a little later. Any information on that admissions tab, click on it. Open the link. Click on the other link that's involved into that link. Anything that's clickable, click on it. It's going to help you during the application process. And for the university application, again, it's at Cal State Apply. There's the website. And everything opens up on October 1st. But this is for on-campus programs only. So what if you're interested in online programs? I'm going to skip this one because it's a lot of words. This is easier. So this chart right here is really going to break it down for you. If you're interested in only on-campus cohorts, then you're going to do Cal State Apply and the department application. If you're interested in only online, then you're going to go to this website here, which is the same college website, and then submit that application. But let's say you're like, oh, I'm sitting here, the 2-year program sounds really good, but the online program also sounds really good, and I'm kind of interested in both. You're going to apply as if you're going to just apply to the on-campus cohort. But there's a portion in our application that says, list all cohort options that you're interested in. So that's when you check off, I'm interested in the 2-year program and the online program. So we know that you're interested in both, but you're not going to submit an application to our department application in Cal State Apply and same college. You're only going to submit it to as if you were applying to on-campus only. So I hope that's clear. This is a fun little circle chart. If you have any questions, definitely let us know about which one you're supposed to apply to, and we can help you out figure out which one works best for you. Okay, so the department application. In the department application, there's an application, surprise. But in that specific application portion, you're going to list your program cohort preferences, your basic applicant information, your CSUN email address. Remember that time I told you I was going to talk about it again? So really quick here, you don't have to wait for your CSUN email address to submit your department application. I know you're thinking, wait, you just told me that I have to activate it and you're only going to talk to me through there. But if you, for whatever reason, if there's a delay in getting your CSUN email address, go ahead and put your personal email address here as a backup, but we won't send you any official admissions information to your #1instinctfan@hotmail.com email address. Only your CSUN one. So keep that in mind. If you have it, put it through. If you don't have it and you're ready to submit your department application, put in your InSync band one. Or, you know, one with your name and Gmail, that's probably preferable than the InSync one, but you get my point. List your emergency contact information, list your academic history and your prior graduate school. If you went to social work, a different social work program, please let us know. If you were an MPA major before, let us know, just so we can see all of that here. One thing I want to mention for the program cohort preferences, this is where you can list any and all program options. It doesn't have to be just online. Let's say you're interested in the 2-year and the 3-year program. Go ahead and list that right there as well. For the UNOM, if you're interested in UNOM, we will send you something after the fact saying please let us know if you're interested in UNOM. It's not going to be built into this one, but we will give you the opportunity to let us know if you are interested in the UNOM cohort. All right, so the applicant contract. What you're going to do is, this is all built into the online system, so everything that I'm telling you here, it's maybe kind of confusing, but once you log onto the system, you'll see it's all just like laid out step by step. So for the applicant contract, please do sign it and upload it to the online application system. What you'll do when you get to this page is there'll be a link, you'll click on the link, you'll look at it, say that you've read it, and then sign it, upload it back up to the system. Please do read it as if you're agreeing to all of our policies and procedures. We're not going to ask you to sign your life away, just for 2 to 3 years, that's it. Recommendation forms, okay. This is where we differ a little bit from other graduate programs. Lots of people, when they're applying to grad programs, think that they need to do a recommendation letter. So they're going to have someone write them a letter. That's great. We have a form. So what's going to happen is you're going to log onto the system, and there's going to be a box where you can put in your reference's name, their email, and how you know them. And then there's a submit box after every single one of them. So what happens is you click on submit, and then they get an automatic email, and they say, hi, Jessica has asked you to be referenced for her MSW program. Please click on the link. So what they do is they create an online portal, and then they then there's a form that they have to fill out. And for the form, it clicks off a bunch of different things, and then there's a text box that says, like, allows them to write the letter. So don't have them write you a letter, have them fill out the form. It sounds confusing. When you see it, it all makes sense. Okay. So we ask that you have 3 recommendation forms, 2 academic and 1 professional. If you graduated over 5 years ago, then 3 professional is totally acceptable. But we'd like to have 2 references be able to speak on your academic performance, since this is an academic program. And then 1 professional, someone who's overseen your work. Don't have your favorite colleague that you go to lunch with write you a letter. Have it be someone who's supervised you. This can be in an internship, unpaid work, whichever way that, however they oversaw your work, that's the person. It must be uploaded by the final deadline, which is January 11th of 2019. And make sure you choose authors that can speak to your academic or professional strengths and abilities. So try to think about who you want to fill out this form for you. And no relatives. If your first job was working at a kitchen and your great aunt was your supervisor, like my first job was, she can't write you that letter. So even though my Aunt Gloria loves me, she can't write me this letter for this particular program. Transcripts. So we talked about the university application, how we need the official ones. We also need unofficial ones to the department application. So really for those ones, you can order official ones, open up that letter, they instantly become unofficial, or you can download them from, I know for CSUN you can log into your portal and download unofficial transcripts. I'm sure other schools have very similar things where they have an online student portal, and that's how you get the unofficial transcripts. There's a GPA calculator that's built into the system, and what you're going to do is you're going to sit with your transcripts next to your screen or on your screen, and then you're going to work backwards. So you're going to start from the last semester that you took, and then work until you hit 60 semester units or 90 quarter units. So keep that in mind as well. Make sure you have your transcripts handy when you're doing that GPA calculator that again is built into the system. When you are ordering your transcripts, please do order them as soon as possible, because if you're getting them mailed or if they're going to give them to you, it can take a little while, so kind of plan ahead, because this all needs to be submitted again by the final deadline. Resume. So we do ask that you include a resume with the application. It says on here, human services. So list any paid experience, volunteer experience, or internships that you've had in the field of human services. So let's say you've worked at an agency, and then prior to that you worked at Target, and you worked at a restaurant, and you worked at the mall. When you're working at Target and the restaurant and the mall, you're having customer service with humans. So it's human service. So please list any and all experiences that you've had prior to applying to this program, because that's how we know about you and we know your journey and how you came to us. So do list that. This is going to be different than your average job resume, because we're going to ask you to indicate how many hours you've spent on each job and activity. So if you worked at the Pride Center at CSUN for 4 years at 40 hours a week, then the total hours is that 8,320 number. I'm not asking you to do math and be super specific, like, oh, well, I only worked, 20 and a half hours for this many weeks and 4 hours for this day. Just kind of estimate as best as you can to get as close to it, because at the end of the day, we should really be able to easily calculate the total number of hours you spent on every activity and job. Please also keep in mind of the format here, 1 to 2 pages, double spaced, 12-point font, 1-inch margins. And then do list any training that you've received. If you're CPR certified, let us know. First aid, if you've been motivational interviewing training, if you've been through that, let us know that as well on your resume. So I'm going to back step one step really quick. On the admissions tab, remember I was telling you about all the clickable things you should click on? One of those things is the admissions checklist, which is really going to detail all of this. And on the resume portion, it'll give you a little sample of what we're looking for. That sample is also built into the system, but if you want to start working on your resume ahead of time, then go ahead and take a look at the admissions checklist. It'll give you the personal statement questions, it'll give you the references instructions, it'll show you what the reference form looks like, so you can send that to your references, but let them know that they're going to have to upload it. Like, don't send it to too advanced, because it gets kind of confusing. Talk to me afterwards if you have questions about that. But again, look at the checklist, because it'll give you a resume sample of what we're looking for here. All right, personal statement. I saw some of your eyes get really big right now. Don't be scared, okay? Every university and every grad program has a different personal statement requirement. So if you're applying to us and you're applying to Cal State LA, make sure that you're looking at each individual things, because I can guarantee you their personal statement requirement is going to be very different from ours. Because for ours, we have 6 questions that we're going to ask you. And we have to answer all 6 questions. And here's a tip. If question 3 has A, B, and C, answer A, B, and C, not just A and C. So, so those 6 questions are going to be there for you to answer for your personal statement. This is also your opportunity to let the admissions committee know anything you want us to know. Let's say your GPA was a little lower than you wanted it to be because of a certain circumstance that happened. This is your time to tell us. But make sure that you answer those 6 questions and then tell us. So while you're writing your personal statement, keep in mind we ask that it's 5 to 7 pages total. So like I said, there's 6 questions, right? So if question 6 is on page 8, we're never going to read the answer to question 6. We're going to stop reading at page 7. So try to keep it within those guidelines. Pretty standard stuff here, double space, 12-point font, 1-inch margins, and it must be in question and answer format. So list question 1, then list your answer to question 1. And as you're writing this, think about, did you answer all the questions? Did you answer all the questions in their entirety? Did you have someone else read it for you? Did you have someone else read it for you that maybe has some social work to kind of give you that social work lens perspective? Does it reflect you as a person, as a future social worker? Does it highlight your strengths and experiences? So kind of keep that in mind as you are writing this personal statement. If you get stuck and you're like, I know I want to be a social worker, but I can't think of anything for question 5, take a look at these links down here. They will be linked to the PowerPoint, and they'll kind of give you a little bit more about what the social worker field is, how to become a social worker, just to kind of get those juices flowing and get you back to answering question number 6. I don't know if question number 6 is hard, I just picked a number. All right, international students. If you're an international student, you do have to take the TOEFL, and you need an affidavit of financial support. We'll need all the transcripts to be translated into English, et cetera, et cetera. Please contact the International Admissions Office if this applies to you. There's some really friendly folks over there, and they'll be happy to help you during this process as well. Deadlines. This is a fun one. So our preferred deadline is November 30th, and our final deadline is January 11th. So I know you're thinking, okay, well, what's preferred? Like, what does that get me? So if you submit your application by November 30th, if you're forgetting something, if you forgot a transcript, if you forgot to include your resume, we'll let you know, and you have the opportunity to submit those missing documents before January 11th. Anything that's submitted between December 1st and January 11th, we won't be able to give you that luxury of letting you know what you missed, just for time and application volume that we receive. We won't review content. We won't say, hey, we didn't, this personal statement's not as good as we think it could be. Review it. We're not going to do that. We're only going to tell you what's missing. So that's the advantage of it. We review all applications equally if they're submitted on October 1st or if they're submitted January 11th. They're all going to be reviewed. It's not first come, first serve. It's not a rolling admissions. You're not going to hear from us earlier if you submit the preferred deadline. It just gives you the advantage in case you forgot something. No later incomplete applications will be reviewed, and you will receive a department decision on or before May 15th. So we know you're going to be anxious and you're going to want to know, but do know that we do receive 500 applications. We review all 500 of them, so it takes us a little while to contact you. But again, we'll send you an email saying that received your application, and the email will be sent to your CSUN email address, not your CSUN portal, but your email address. And again, like I said, we'll only contact you through the CSUN email. I know you're going to have lots of questions about this. Hold it until the end, and then we'll go over some questions. So now I'm going to bring up Mark Abelson, and he's going to talk a little bit about the fun parts of what our program does and different events that we offer.
Thank you, Jessica.
No problem.
All right. So I just want to add a couple things onto what Jessica was saying. As a faculty member who reads these applications, as one of the many faculty members who reads these applications, and also as a faculty member who has written letters of recommendations for students, usually in the sociology department here at CSUN, because I teach both in Soc and in social work, I just want to throw out a couple things. If you're going to ask somebody to write a letter of recommendation for you, ask them before you submit their name as your recommender. Now, believe it or not, I have received a couple of students who contacted me afterwards thinking I wouldn't get contacted for a while, and they were going to contact me first, but they didn't. So I said, I can't write you a letter of recommendation because you submitted me before asking me. So please, make sense. Also on letters of recommendation, please gently nudge or prod or poke your references to submit their letters, submit their forms in a timely way, okay? So my recommendation would be once you submitted their name, wait a couple of weeks maybe. If you got plenty of time, contact them, say, I submitted, I just want to make sure you got it, double checking, and just want to know when you might be able to get around to writing the letter. Personally, I meet with all students I write letters of recommendation for, so I can talk to them about why they want to be a social worker. So this is the kind of thing. So just keep on them. I have had also students come to me for their third recommendation because their third recommender didn't get around to doing it, and they hadn't really bugged them enough because they didn't want to seem like they were being impolite. And I said, this is your future. You have to make sure, just follow up and hold them to their agreement, And if they don't, you want enough time to be able to find somebody else to try to write that last letter of recommendation for you. Yes, sure.
Also, there is a feature on the application that if, let's say I'm your reference and I'm taking forever to get back to you, you can replace me with Mark.
Yeah.
So there's a feature on there that'll say, let's add in, remove this person, add in another person, so you have time, but just make sure that you allow yourself enough time because it has to be submitted by the deadline. If it's a day after, your application is then considered incomplete. So make sure you factor all that in, but I just want to let you know of that. So if I'm, not being a good person, then Mark can come in and save the day.
And I don't know, does the form have the date that they have to submit it by?
Yes, your references will get instructions,
Okay.
highlighted instructions with bolded dates of when they need to submit everything by.
Okay. And then you will get notified when I send your reference in. They'll send you an automatic saying this reference did, so you know when that happens. Now let's get on to the fun stuff. Is there anything else there? No. Diversity Day. Diversity Day is our annual conference we have for department as well as university-wide. It's open to anyone in the university and also the community to come. This will be our 10th year. In February 2nd is our 10th year of having the Diversity Day. All students are supposed to come to this. It's on a Saturday, whether you're online or land-based. And you can see some of the topics we have. This year, the topic is parallel borders. I think that's basically what we kind of signed on. And basically, we're going to be looking not just at like physical borders, but also interpersonal borders. And it won't be just about immigration. It will be about a lot of different social issues and identity issues. Okay, so that's that. Also, let's see. So, lobby days. This is a great opportunity for you to get immersed for a weekend in seeing, as they say, how the sausage is made in the legislature. So learning about policy, learning about how to advocate for policy. If any of you are thinking about going to macro practice, more on the policy administration side of practice, even though we're a generalist program, you will get the content and skills to be able to go into a macro-focused profession afterwards. That's the classes I teach in the department are primarily in macro side, so policy, advocacy, things like that. So this is a great opportunity. You go up on a Saturday, Sunday you go through training with more than 1,000 other BSW and MSW students from across the state. Every school is represented at the lobby days, and you collectively, you don't do this activity by school. You're integrated with the rest of the students from around the state, and you divide it up, and you go 6 to 8 people, typically, something like that. Go to a legislator's office, and you advocate for 3 bills that the legislature is looking at this year that NASW has designated as a priority for social work. Docs and Talks, this is another thing that happens a couple times a semester. We show a film that deals with some kind of social and economic justice issue, and then just have a facilitate conversation about it. So it's just an informal way to kind of talk about maybe a current issue or something like that. And this is done by Jose Paez, who's still the Docs and Talks person, and he does a great job with this. So this is just kind of extracurricular kind of things, because you'll have plenty of time. You won't have to study all the time and stuff like that. Okay? That was a joke. All right, and lunch and learns. These happen a couple times a semester too. They have a variety of topics. There's nothing really sort of set in here. They can be anywhere from practice issues or skill set building, like motivational interviewing, or licensing, how to become licensed. So in your second year, you might want to learn a little bit, hear what happens for you for licensing. Some of it will be about self-care, like mindful meditation or something like that. And so it's a variety of topics. It could be a public, a topical social issue, stuff like that. They're about 1 hour and 15 minutes long. So it's also a good time to go there. And then finally, after everything happens for you, like we've been talking about today, you make it in the program, go through the program. 2 or 3 years, this could be you. This could be not up there. That's all. It could be. That's you. That's you. That's you. Okay. Hey, how come I'm not in that picture? Is that the year I wasn't here?
I'll update it so you have your picture on there.
Yeah, I think so. Usually I show up pretty good this month.
I know.
No, this is not the one. I wasn't there when Professor Curiel had the Superman shirt on or whatever it is. Well,
Thank you, Mark.
you're
For
welcome.
all the activities. So now I'm going to bring up some of our students who are in our SWS, which is our student group on campus. So I see Marilyn and I see Roberto. Is Tanya here? Just 2 of you? Okay, so come on up.
Hello everyone, my name is Alberto. As mentioned, I'm part of the Social Work Society. I am the internal vice president, and I'm going to let Marilyn introduce herself.
Hello, y'all. I'm Marilyn Cortez. I am the external vice president of the SWS board. We are part of the 219 cohort on campus.
And, So you just understand it's kind of surreal. Like a couple years ago, I was over there, and now I'm giving a presentation on it. So what's the Social Work Society? It's a professional social work student organization here at CSUN. All of our members are current CSUN MSW students. So you've heard there's a bunch of cohorts. Well, this is the hub where we all get together. And we focus on professional development, advocacy, and self-care. So I was going to focus on lobby days, but Professor Abramson went over it really well.
I'm sorry, I got my instructions.
But basically, to go to lobby days, we have to fundraise for that. It costs money to go up there. We have to pay for the hotels, transportation, all these other costs. And so throughout the year, we'll be selling sweaters, shirts. To become members, there's a membership fee. It's really small. And we just basically get together to push social justice issues. And if there's anything that one of our members wants to provide information or training on, we facilitate that. And so I've heard, when you're in undergrad, there's a bunch of organizations, but here we're really focused on what it means to be a social worker, and we're really fortunate to have a bunch of our peers and our professors to come together and work together as a unit.
So I'll be talking about self-care, so we also advocate for that in the Social Work Society. You'll be hearing about self-care a lot by your professors, your peers. So like last week we did a Dodgers night with all our cohort members, and a lot of people went out. This Saturday we have a day at the park. It's just so that all of us kind of not forget, but we kind of give ourselves some time and just like not worry about school and just kind of have fun and enjoy. For Halloween we're also going to do a movie night. So it's like the society has a lot of different things that it focuses on, but one of the main things that we want to focus on is self-care. Sometimes as students we kind of forget that it's okay to like take some time off and not just be school every single time.
And then just briefly, as students, we'll just give you a taste of what it's like. For me, when I came in, I wasn't sure that social work was something that I was interested in. But I came to one of these informational sessions and I met Julie Gould, and she's part of the CalSec stipend program. And after meeting her, I fell in love with the profession because she kind of guided me through everything that I needed to do to get into the CalSec program. Now I'm a CalSec recipient, and I've had the opportunity to intern with the Department of Mental Health. And clinical stuff was something, again, that I didn't want to do. So when they say they're going to place you at an internship that's going to expand whatever experiences you've had before, like that really pushed me to be somewhere where I wasn't necessarily thinking of going, but I'm so grateful that they put me there because now that I'm with DCFS, on my second year I'm with DCFS, I get to understand how to collaborate with different organizations. And it's not just me working with a clinician, I'm working with the whole system. And so I'm no longer scared of it because, believe it or not, some of the social workers that have been with DCFS for years, they kind of really don't understand how these two big departments work together. But as an intern, I got to see that side, and so now that I'm part of DCFS, it's a lot easier for me to literally walk across the aisle and go talk to them because I was there for a year. So that was a great experience that I had. And so now, today, I just got out of my first day out of my internship with DCFS, and I'm super excited because that's where I kind of have my career, but it's nerve-wracking because I'm still a student. I have my capstone project. I'm part of the Social Work Society. So there's a lot going on, but I feel that I'm really supported here. And so I'm just really grateful that I'm going to be able to get my degree here and hopefully start my career in a couple months.
So I'll give you all my spiel. I also am a CalSec recipient, so I am doing DCFS this year. I early on, even in my undergrad, I knew I wanted to be a social worker. I needed steps to get here. I applied to 3 different schools. I got into 3 different schools, but the most that I got, I feel like the best connection that I got was from CSUN, and they always say go with your gut feeling, and I think that I can honestly say that my gut feeling was like the best place that I could have chosen for my choice. I feel like I don't feel alone, and I'm always very supported here, and if I ever have anything that I need help with, I know that there's people here to always help me out, professors and other students that we're also going through the same situation. So yeah, I think that I did a really good choice, and I hope you all choose CSUN.
And we'll be around if you have questions afterwards. Thank you.
so I swear we didn't pay them for that. I'll choke down. So 2 things I wanted to say before I close. One is a logistics one that I think I forgot to say. If you have not checked in on the computer and logged in your email, please do so. That's how we're going to send you, don't get up now, but please make sure you do that before you go, because that's how we're going to send you all the information. The other thing I want to say, and this was probably clear to everybody else, but as someone who's just making sure, when you are looking to, so one of the things that Jolene Swain talked about was the idea that you need to be honest about any sort of history things that would need to be disclosed before you're placed, right, in terms of a criminal background and et cetera. I want to clarify that you don't need to disclose those at application. You would be disclosing those once you are in and you do your field application. That's just a social justice issue and a legal issue that you don't have to disclose that. Every once in a while, we have a student who puts that in their application. You don't have to, by law, do that. So please know that what we're asking, when that honesty is important, is when you come to us for a field interview and a field application so that we can best match you. We are really looking to recruit people from all backgrounds. We don't have a particular major that we need you to be. We don't have a particular life course that we want you to be. We want representatives in social work that reflect the communities we're reaching out to. So we really are looking for all folk. And I think a lot of people come here saying, I don't know that I fit here, maybe have shame about their background or their lived experience. And I think Jolene was great about saying, we're from a recovery model and we need folks who have lived. So please know that that is a part of our recruitment strategy for you, okay? So that's my little soapbox. All right, so it's question time. I can take a couple of general questions and then I'm gonna point you to individuals you can talk to after we wrap. Any general questions I can take? Yes?
How many students are accepted during this period, like for a cohort?
So our stateside cohorts for our 2-year day program, it's about 78. I like how I say about. It's about 78.25. Just kidding. It's about 78, give or take. For our 3-year evening program, it's about 35. It's about 45. I just look at Jessica for all answers. Our online cohorts can vary more. 50, 45, somewhere around there. Now, if you're sitting in the crowd saying, online, you got that many students, do not, as someone who teaches in online, we split that 49 or 50 students into 2 different cohorts, and then you have face-to-face screen time with folks. And please know that we make that as intimate a setting as we possibly can, and I really believe in it, and we can answer those questions if you have any. Does that answer all your cohort questions? Thank you. Yes, please.
For the references, it was mentioned that it was 2 academic and 1 professional. What
Correct.
if for some reason the academic ones don't answer? Can we substitute professional, or if a professional don't answer? Like, is there like
Yes.
a restriction on that?
So,
or?
no. The way that will work is if you are more than, as Jessica mentioned, if you're more than 5 years out, you just do your best with professional. If you're more than 5 years out and you give me an academic reference, I'm kind of impressed, because it's hard to keep that kind of connection. If you are less than 5 years, you really want to do your best to get 2 academic. Again, academic advisor, someone who, grad TA, somebody who can speak to your academic ability. If you can't, you will just get some points off for that. That doesn't mean you're not going to get in. You would want them, whoever you decided who was not an academic, you want them to be kick-ass, pardon me for the language. Because you are going to hit some points because of the fact that they aren't academic. Does that answer?
Yeah, it's preferred.
Oops.
Preferred, not required.
There we go.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's not going to be like, oh, she's out. We can't get her because
No.
she got to be professional. No, it's fine. Preferred but not required.
No, please, keep me honest. Yes.
Um,
Sorry. No, please.
yeah, so I was hearing you say that the references need to be online.
Uh-huh.
What if we've already gotten our references to fill out the form and put them in envelopes with the seal, or with the signature on the seal?
So it has to be submitted online in the system because your application will show as incomplete if it's not submitted in the system. So what I would do is I would go, maybe with a cup of coffee, and say, can you scan this? I will be here with you, or if they don't feel comfortable with you looking at the reference, just have them upload it with the link that they're provided, because it all has to be online, unfortunately. I don't have a way to attach the paper to the online.
But they can
tried.
scan it?
They can
Yes.
scan it. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, they can scan it, yeah.
Great.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Great question. Mark wants me to come back here. Yes?
Are you not having the Ventura cohort
We-
in 2019?
So, no, we are not. So that cohort or COC are not going are not being offered this next year. And folks from SANE can answer this as well. We are only offering the online cohort. We stagger those for a myriad of reasons. But for this coming year, it will only be the online program for SANE College. Yeah, great question. Yes, ma'am.
Are you looking for a particular work experience, and do you admit people with no work experience, or how do you do that?
So yes, we have definitely admitted folks with no work experience, although often there is some, so, I mean, yes, do we look at your experience and do you get points for what kind of experience you bring? Yes. But I don't think we dictate a particular type of experience. Folks have said, well, I was a server, well, I was a nanny. Those are relevant work experiences for social work. I think Jolene was talking about, customer service, or maybe it was Jessica, customer service realms, volunteer work. You went on a mission and worked in another country. All of those pieces are relevant. You want to talk about your whole life journey. But I will not deny that your work experience is a big component of what we're trying to assess. Does that answer your question? Okay, I'll take a couple more. Yes, ma'am?
What if we're barely starting, like work experience, for example, counseling or working with children at the beginning? I want to say like around the time of the application process. Could we talk about that
Absolutely.
in our application? Would that make us less of?
Well, you're going to have to quantify how much you've been doing at that setting. And that's why we do that. If you volunteered at MEND, that's fantastic. But if you've only been there 4 hours, that's going to look different than if you say, I've been at MEND for 400 hours. But it doesn't mean you don't negate it. Please put it in. And we have lots of folks who are just starting out with your own. But I guess I want you to also hear, don't define it just as human services, as in an agency setting. There are lots of ways that people gain that kind of experience. Does that make sense? Okay, a couple more. Yes?
I have a question about the field placement.
Okay.
I know that it was mentioned that it needs to be during the week, 8 to 6, from working hours. Is there any possibility that through shelters or other agencies we can get placed one day during Saturday?
So those are few and far between that we have agencies like that. And the struggle is that we have to find days when the social worker is there. And often the social worker who's overseeing your work are not there on weekends and evenings. Doesn't mean it's not ever possible, but it's rare. And we really have to, I don't want to sell you a false bill, because if I opened that up, honestly, Jolene and I would have to find 1 million of those agencies, because you'd all want it. So I don't ever promise that, because that is a very rare option. Does that make sense? Okay.
I'm going to say 2 things real
Please.
quick that are important to the application process to tell you all, and then we're going to break into different groups and you ask questions afterwards. So one thing I wanted to say, I know a lot of you are asking about work experience and if that's important. We look at the application holistically. So we look at everything. We're not going to make a decision solely based on your GPA. We're not going to make a decision solely based on your work experience. We look at the whole package, and we look at who you are as a person and why you would be a good social work student for our program. So take that into consideration and don't feel like, oh, I can't apply because my GPA is not a 3.0, or oh, I can't apply because I'm just starting out and working on this, or I've never worked in this field before. Just let us know in your personal statement, which is where we really get to know you the best, of why you want to be a social worker, what happened. Like let's hear your story. Let's answer the 6 questions, like I said, but try and get that as clear as possible to us. Second thing I wanted to say, our application process is a two-part where you apply different places, but it's also 2-part as in you submit your application, and then if you make it through that first round of screening, we invite you back for an interview. So actually I just heard that one other program around the area is doing an interview process as part of the application process. I don't remember who, but I made that surprise face too. But prior to this year, we've been the only one to do an interview process. And the interview process is you'll be with a group of students and with a couple faculty members. And the reason why we do this is, as Katie mentioned earlier, you're shopping for schools. And so we want to make sure that you're a good candidate for us, but we also want to make sure that you understand what our program is really about and make sure you feel comfortable spending the next 2-3 years of your life here with us. It's great. But, you know, it's everyone's own choice. So we do an interview process as well, which is why we don't send decisions until May 15th. So you may hear from other schools before you hear from us. That's because we're taking the extra step to get to know you and make sure that we know you and you know us. So with that being said, do you have one more thought, or do you want to break into groups?
No, groups.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're looking to ask questions about admissions, especially stateside admissions, wherever she's gone, Jessica's your cat. If you're looking to ask questions about online off-site admissions, Yvonne and Amy are your folks to go to, okay? Student life, Alberto and Marilyn. Mark Abelson, all things, as you can tell. Our chair, all things. Dr. Bartle, all things. Field questions in particular, Jolene Swain or myself.